go. I'm the one you need to know. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. If there's a place you gotta get, I can get you there, I bet. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map. I'm the map.
Okay, we're in recording. Yes, Mr. Freeze. Question.
Oh, no, I'm good.
Oh, I thought you had a question about the recording.
Oh, no, I'm all set.
Okay.
Let's get started.
So what we're going to do, we're in Google Maps here, and so I'm going to collapse this right here. And let's see, Mr. Freeze told me this was going to collapse. Oh, he was right. Okay.
As usual.
So the first thing you got to do is you open up Google Maps, okay? And work with me here, people. It's going to be a little bit disjointed and a little bit slow. And no, we're going to want to get rid of anything else here. I think this is good.
You just want to make sure that you have the parameters of what you're going to screenshot and clearly mark them. So figure out what countries.
Let's zoom out a little bit. I like North Africa, a bit of the Middle East, and maybe around here. All right. Does that work for you,
Looks good.
Mr. Freeze? Alrighty. And so now what we need to do is take a screenshot.
So you're going to do highlight, shift, control, command 4. Then you can pick.
See right here? Let's get, do we want Morocco?
Let's include Morocco.
Yeah, why not? And let's stop.
Let's make sure to get Israel in there. Get a little bit of the Middle East.
We have the Black Sea here.
Yep.
And I think this will work for us.
There it is.
Alrighty.
All right, so now what you're going to do, the nice thing about the Shift Control Command 4 is it's like a copy and paste. So now you're going to go to Pages, and this, believe it or not, is one of the most important parts of what you're going to do. You're going to choose a blank page layout, and you should pick the Canvas landscape, not word processing. Make sure that it's in the Canvas landscape.
Right there.
This will save you a lot of time later on.
So what we're going to have to do is we'll go like that, and we'll find the screenshot. Screenshot, 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 screenshot. There's a screenshot. Plop it.
There it is. All right. So now you want to make sure to stretch the map as big as you can within your document. If you drag from the side or bottom corner, you can drag it without changing the proportions.
There we go.
There it is. So this process now is going to have a variety of different steps to it. It's kind of like making a jack-o'-lantern on construction paper. You're going to be cutting out different parts and then creating different layers.
Very wise, Mr. Freeze. Very wise.
Thank you.
Sounds familiar, though.
I got it
Shout
from
out to Mr. Salee. Okay.
All right, so the first layer you want is the water. And so the water, what you're going to do is you're going to go to the Shape menu.
Shape.
If it's not there, you're going to have to customize the toolbar and find the shapes. What you're going to do first is you're going to add a rectangle. You're going to make it the size of the entire map. Drag the corner. All right, so this is like the first piece of construction paper. Now, what you're going to do is you go to the line thickness, and this will give the water solid border. So if you go up to line thickness, 3-point line thickness is a good amount.
Now that's thick.
That's a nice border there. All right, so now what you're going to do is, obviously you can't see the map right now. You're going to go to opacity. You're going to reduce it to 50%.
Don't we want this blue? Well, I'll hold on.
Well, hold on, we'll get there.
Just hold on to your horses.
40 or 50%, it doesn't matter a whole lot. Now you can see the countries. Now, here is the essential part of this. Every shape we create needs to be a closed shape. That means that you can't have any openings on any of the lines, or else, kind of like with a painting, it's almost like the paint will leak out. So you got to make sure that when you do this, every shape you have is closed. So what you're going to do is you're going to go to pen shape. So you're going to go to the shapes. You're going to go to the pen tool. This is pretty neat.
Should we start with United Kingdom?
I think that'll be easy because it's an island. And we may want to zoom in a little bit on this.
Gotcha. All right.
Now, while Mr. Zoyle's zooming in, the key way to do this, if you want to really put the detail in, is to go click by click. When you do this, it will automatically connect the lines when you click from one to another. We seem to be having some
Technical difficulties with
technical
the zoom in
difficulties.
feature.
There
All right.
it is. All right, there's the UK. So we're going to start by using the pen tool. And when you click, the nice thing about it is that if you click the same dot twice, it does end your shape, but all you have to do is go back to click on the shape, double-click the last dot you worked on to edit the shape. So Mr. Doyle is going to show you here how this works. Now the key thing about this is that when you do these shapes, the amount of time and effort you put in can really help to distinguish a good-looking map from kind of a mediocre-looking map.
And as you can all see, I am really putting in my all and focusing on making these lines super crisp and clean.
We wouldn't expect any less of you.
We're going to skip some of the islands here. No offense to the UK.
Sorry, Shetland Isles. So, as you do this, something to keep in mind. When the shape is closed, the fill menu is going to become available. And the nice thing about this, as you'll see, is that you can change the border around to match your fill. So you can keep a border, you can get rid of a border, and we'll show you that in a moment. Notice Mr. Doyle's intricate pattern that he's creating here. Now you may run into this yourselves.
There you go.
There it is.
And now you can fill it with a color.
Look at that UK.
Super.
All right. So now that we've closed the shape, what we're going to do is you can change the style of your border, as you're going to notice over on the border menu. You can make it a dotted line.
Wrong one. You mean this border?
That border right there. You can make it a dotted line. Or you can make it look like it's kind of been scrawled. Give it some personality. You can change the width of it, the thickness of it. And if you want, you can completely get rid of that. That kind of looks cool. You can also do none. And so it's just the color of the country. So now we zoom back out. Now we go to fit page. So we go back to zoom, fit page. Now for the time consuming part. And this is the part that you're going to have to really put a lot of time into. You're going to go through the borders of Europe. UK was comparatively easy. What you want to do is you're going to find a starting point, and you got to make sure that each time you add in a layer, you're going to reduce the opacity. So for instance, if you wanted to create a border around all of Europe and then add in another country, say France, then France would be coming in as its own layer. Now what we want to do is we're going to go around, and again, just like with Britain, but obviously even more elaborately, any empty spaces between lines is going to result in the paint leaking out. So you got to make sure that the border is completely closed. We're not going to show the entire process of this because it is time consuming, but you can start to get the idea of everything you need to include. Take your time on this.
Not what I'm doing.
Not what Mr. Doyle's doing.
1 hour later, 2 hours later, 3 hours later.
Give it that nice mustard color. There it is. So you just need to make sure that you've got the correct thing highlighted. I think what happened before is it had the whole body of water highlighted. So now, what you want to do next is you want to reduce the opacity of this shape. So you click on that shape, and then you want to reduce opacity to 40 or 50%. That way you can see the countries and you can see the layers. Now notice we've got our body of water here. So if we wanted to, say, have France now, we would then draw a new set of lines for France and create yet another layer. Go to Shapes. Vive la France. want to make sure, yep, that the borders, even if they already exist on the shape you're going over, that you redraw them. Now it's closed. Now you go to fill, you give it a new color. Now, what you want to do for this, in terms of labeling countries, you can do this in one of two ways. One thing you can do is you can insert a text box. So if you go up to text box and you want to label France, you want to label England, you can actually put it right in there. There we go. So you can add a text box that says France. And then, of course, you can zoom in and add more detail. Another option, especially if you're adding smaller countries, if you wanted to label Belgium and the Netherlands and that sort of thing, is you can create a key. And again, keys are always going to be essential within maps. So the way you create a key, pretty easy. You just go up to shapes, and let's say we wanted to have color-coded for France. We just go to a rectangle. Yes. You can do that one of two ways. You can either have a smaller red square and then write France next to it, or you can have a larger square, a larger rectangle, and then you can just include all your information on it.
Right.
So Mr. Doyle is going to add in his key information here. Add in the shape. And I'll change the color to red. There we go. Now the nice thing about these maps is there's a certain amount that has to look the same or has to be done the same way. However, maps are a form of art in a way, as well as a source of information. And one of the things we're going to see is that you can have, as long as it's geographically accurate, you can kind of add in your own creative touches to it in terms of the borders, in terms of the coloring, in terms of the shading, and then in terms of how the labels are, whether you actually add the writing onto it or whether you do it as a separate key. We're going to give you a set of directions that you're going to need to follow as you go. One of the things you're going to want to make sure of is that when you're done, you take the opacity and then you bring it back to 100% once it's all done. That way, if you go back to the shape, if you go back to Europe, you increase the opacity back to 100%. You're going to see that, and make sure that the opacity of the Black Sea is also 100%. You're going to see that you've got your continent, that you've created it. And you want to make sure that once you do that, then you go back to the water. So you click back on the water, and then you take that opacity and you make that 100%. Let's change that water color, some green looking water. And there we go. So we want to bring the opacity back, and then we can do the same thing with the Black Sea. And we can go back and forth, and we can edit it if we notice that there are things that are missing.